I can't wait to start crafting with this new retro Christmas tag kit from Cara Branding Creations. I absolutely love it, but there is a lot of cutting, so I want to do at least some of this with my electronic die cutting machine. Hi, this is Denise with Paper Crafty. Today we're going to look at how we can cut ephemera that's already been printed and hasn't been imported into your Silhouette studio and had registration marks added to it for the print and cut feature, how you can cut those out with your Silhouette anyway. So I have this PixScan mat, and I haven't used this before, so we'll see how it works. I really prefer to import the file and save it, but since I can't add registration marks at this point, it's already been printed. So, okay, this is what the instructions say to do. It's got this cover on it, obviously a plastic cover, so I just take that off. I line this up. Okay. So now I'm going to take a picture of it. I've got to just get the whole thing in there. It doesn't have to be absolutely, perfect. If it's a little, tilted, no big deal. I'm going to try to get it as straight as I can. Okay, so I just emailed this to myself. I'm just going to download it to my computer, and then I just saved it to my desktop. I'm going to go open Silhouette Studio. I'm going to open this work area here that has the pics. That's for PixScan. I'm not scanning it. I'm going to be opening a photo, a JPEG. So I use this camera and import PixScan image from file. Okay, so I guess there's a way you can calibrate this. I think you take a picture of some dots and stuff. I'm not going to do that. Let's just see what it does without it. All right, I'm just going to continue without calibration. All right, and now I'm going to go to this menu here that looks like a piece of bread. That's the tracing function. I want to select my trace area. Okay, so after a lot of fiddling with threshold levels, despeckle, and scale, this is kind of the best I could come up with. I found that the trace function, when you use the PixScan, is not as precise and as easy to use as when you use the scan and cut function. In other words, when you just import a JPEG or PDF file. I suspect that's because when you take a photo of the PixScan, the background is never, as bright white as when you would import that file from a JPEG or a PDF. You're going to get a lot more and better contrast from importing the JPEG or PDF file directly to Silhouette instead of taking a photo of that digital, if that makes sense. So anyway, I just found that they did not scan as well. There was a lot more noise with those little speckly dots all over the place, and they were really hard to get rid of. And also, it kept on picking up the edges of the paper and making those into cut files as well. So there was just a lot of things that I had to clean up at the end. So it's definitely not as efficient a method as using the scan and cut feature. But anyway, this is what I ended up with after tracing. Okay, so I'm just going to hit trace outer edge. Even if I did trace and detach, apparently when you do the PixScan, it doesn't automatically detach it. All right, so let's just see what that looks like. This is not the best thing ever, I'd say. I mean, all of these pieces look good, but this is not right. And you've got this extra piece down here. All right, so I'm gonna go back to the design. And I'm going to do select all. I'm going to do release compound path. And that'll make each of these separate pieces. So I'm going to pick up this. Let's see. I'm going to delete that because we don't want any of that cutting like the way it was. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm gonna get rid of that. Okay. And around here, let's see, I did get rid of everything. Yeah, okay. Around here, I'm just gonna put a square, a rectangle rather, and just gonna draw a rectangle around this. Might make it a little bit, I gotta get on my arrow thing just to adjust the size a little bit. Matter of fact, I'm going to zoom in so I can see what I'm doing. That would be helpful, huh? Seeing what I'm doing could actually be a really good thing. Okay, here we go. All right, this top line looks good. Bottom line looks good. Make this a little bit bigger here. This one looks pretty good. Okay. Oops. Okay, so now I'm gonna send this again. And you can see where all the cut lines are. Okay. And now I'm just gonna take that PixScan. And I am going to load this into my silhouette. Just going to line this up, the right hand side with the center of that arrow right there, and press load. Okay, that's pretty good. All right, and then come back here and press send, and we'll see what happens. Just checking the registration marks. It's adjusting the blade. Okay, so here's the big reveal. Okay, so that turned out pretty good. You can see there's the little pieces of ephemera. There's the tag, one of the tags. All right, so I have my really old little toolkit from when I used when I use my Cricut machine, but this little spatula thing is really handy. And they make these for the silhouette as well, similar types of toolkits, but you can see for getting kind of intricate dies off, this is really a useful tool. Okay, so look how good that turns out. A little bit of a white background there, but still looks pretty good, I'd say. Got these little guys, the little stockings. Oops. It's like taking cookies off of a cookie sheet. Okay, cool. So that's that. And what I'll do is I'm just going to take these pieces, all of these pieces from day one, and I'm going to keep all of them together. Okay. All right, so I'll just put all of those in there together, and that way I have, you know, day two separated out. So when I go to assemble the tags, I've got everything in one place. Okay, so you can see this is great that I've got this, but you know, what's a little bit of a bummer is that this PixScan is kind of a one-time use thing. I can't really print this out and then cut it again, because the quality of this image when I go to print this JPEG here is going to be pretty poor. Because remember, we took a photo of a printed digital. So that's never going to have as much detail and resolution as a JPEG or PDF image that you import into the silhouette. I really didn't want to waste all the effort and work that I had put into creating the trace of this PixScan image. So I tried to take the traced cut file and superimpose it onto an imported JPEG image, the file that has the good resolution and everything. But it just, for a whole slew of reasons, never really lined up exactly perfectly. The edges were just slightly off, and so I determined that the amount of time that it took to adjust, you know, that superimposed cut file over a JPEG image took as much time, if not longer, than just doing the whole trace all over again on the high resolution JPEG image. So just doing the regular print and cut feature. So yeah, it was kind of a failed experiment, but you know, I've done it, you don't have to. So just so you know. So here's another idea for using the PixScan. You can see, like in sheets like this and tags like this, there's a lot of straight edges, and it's, you know, it's so time consuming to kind of do the PixScan, and you can't save it and reuse it, that it doesn't make sense to cut out all these tags with those. But what you can do is cut out all the kind of straight edge pieces. You know, and just take like some of these ephemera pieces, like these, that could be fussy cut out with more accuracy. by the machine than by me. Cut these all out with your trimmer, and then just take, you know, a bunch of these ephemera pieces that you've cut out from various sheets, and then put these on the mat. And I'll show you that in a minute, how I do that. Okay, and with this one, I really want a closer cut on this, so I'm actually going to, seems counterintuitive, but I'm going to get rid of this black line that's surrounding the fussy cut. So I am going to, you know, somewhat fussy cut this out, you know, just super duper fast, so that the machine can get a nice close cut on this one. I would like to see this one closer to the image. But if I have that black line there, it won't do that. So I need to kind of go around that. So yeah, that was kind of double the work, but whatever. So I have this sheet. The cool thing about it is I don't have to stick to 8.5 by 11. I can go use this entire area, and I can take, you know, pieces like this. I'm going to cut off the branding strip because I don't want to include that in there, but I can just, you know, put these pieces down that I think are going to be, would be cool to cut. And I just did these very, very roughly. Let's see, I'm gonna put that in there like that. I want to get these more, a closer cut. Okay, so these circles, I mean, these circles are not easy to cut out. I'm gonna make this a little smaller, at least for me, because then I have to find the right size circle punch, and you know, it's just a thing. So I like to do, I think the circles will be a good thing to do on here. So I'm gonna get all the circles. Circles are kind of a no-brainer in terms of things to add on here. Some of these, this should cut okay. You can see this one, I can tell already is not going to cut really well because it has these antennae that are really light colored, so it's not gonna, it's gonna want to cut directly to the skull, so it's not going to do a good job on this one. So this I might just fussy cut out by hand. Same with this one. This is kind of small, so I think I'll just fussy cut that one by hand. I think that's pretty good for now. Let's see, we'll get that one cut, and let's see, I'm gonna take a picture. So I uploaded the photo that I took onto my PixScan, and now I am just going to trace this. And we've already done this, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do this off camera. And so after my very best efforts on this, this is what I come up with, and it is fairly messy. So I'm gonna have to go in and like delete some lines. You can see that it is picking up like the edges of the paper and stuff from the various die cuts. So I'm gonna have to go in and delete those lines manually. I'm just gonna delete this entire thing right here and then draw circles around these. So, you know, I can do a separate video if you want me to go into the details of how I do that, but I'm just going to do that relatively quickly and go ahead and cut these. After quite a bit of editing and manipulation of points and stuff, I came up with this. Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to go to this much effort to, you know, manipulate the points and everything, I'd rather have a file that I can use over and over again. But you know, if you have a bunch of things like this, you know, and there's fairly simple shapes like circles that are, you know, harder to cut out on their own, this could be a good way to do it. Well, doggone it, I forgot to burnish these down before I started. So you can see that this kind of came up. So that kind of stinks. I think this is still salvageable. I'd have to just punch that out with circle punch. But, you know, you can see this does a pretty good job, especially if, you know, you burnish them down. Okay, it didn't cut all the edges of this. I don't know what's going on there. It's weird. Huh. All right, I got that. Got that. Well, it looks like it didn't get portions of this, so I'm gonna have to go in and trim that better. So that was a bit of a fail. Yeah, this one too. It's like some points it didn't seem to cut very well. So, this one did not cut well at all. Look at that. It got way over on this. All right. So, you know, not perfect. I definitely like the print and cut feature of this a lot better than this. You know, I just find that it picks up too many of the edges when you have multiple edges of paper on this. I mean, you know, if you have some very intricate die cuts, you know, or a lot of circles and you don't have a circle punch, you know, this could be a really good option. And the ovals too, because, you know, we don't have oval punches. So those, you know, are very useful to do. This one came out pretty cool. Look at that. That one actually came out great. The little hand. That's a very intricate die. So that turned out really well. So, you know, I mean, mixed bag, I guess. It does take some effort. So my preference really is to, oh, didn't even catch this one. What happened there? Started to cut. I don't know. I don't know what happened there. That's weird. Yeah, my preference is definitely the print and cut, I think, because that's, you know, those files can be used over and over and over again. They're much more precise. You can edit them, so, you know, put lines around them so that you have bleeds, so you don't have any border whatsoever. That would be definitely my preference. But, you know, since I had already printed these out to do the kit share, I felt like it was, you know, useful to kind of show you how the PixScan works, you know, and it does work. But just, you know, whether it's worth the time and the energy for this type of application is something that you know, kind of have to decide for yourself. For me, not really worth the time. The one page that it was really useful on was where there was a bunch of little word strips on the bottom of Kara's kit, and I'll show you that one right here. And it was really helpful for that one because, you know, those are a bear to try to cut. Okay, here's another thing I really like this print and scan for. It's for cutting out, you know, these middle parts here. Okay, so I imported this into my PixScan folder, and I'm going to trace it. Okay, so you can see that it did the outlines of all of these after I cleaned it up a bit. This one it did some weird stuff on, so I just left it off the cut file. I can retrace it if I want or not. I don't, you know, I'll decide whether I want to do that or not. But what I wanted to show you is, you see how there's no rectangle currently in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to design. I'm going to pick the rectangle with the rounded, oi, what's going on here? All right, I'm gonna pick the rectangle with the rounded edges. All right, and then I'm gonna go in here and as best as I can, I'm going to draw a rectangle. Then I can, you know, go in, I can adjust the edges, you know, make them wider, all that fun stuff, you know, make it like that. I can adjust the angle of the, or the radius of the corners so that it matches this more accurately. All right, I'm gonna clean that up a little bit and then I'll show you what I've got. And I just kind of, you know, made this box so it fit inside of here. Okay, I'm gonna zoom out. That looks much better, and this is why I like doing these tags with the holes in them on here, because it's kind of hard to cut this inside portion, I find, especially if it has the rounded corners or if it's a circle. I'm not that great with an X-Acto knife. And doggone it, I forgot to burnish these again. So this is why you always need to burnish your pieces onto your mat. But, you know, these were just kind of the extras, so I'm not too worried about it. This did something weird to this kid with the puppy. So, I don't know what I'm going to do with that. And then it did this weird thing, but it got all the corners that which were hard. So now I can just cut that little piece. It did do the piece that I was most concerned about doing. You can see how it does a nice job cutting out that interior portion, which is really what I was going after with this. So I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so as a quick recap, my personal opinion is that when given the chance, I would much prefer to do a print and cut over using the PixScan for cutting ephemera. I'm showing you in the video up above what the process is for a print and cut, and I have done previous videos on that before if you'd like more details on that, so I will leave a link right here in the description box below as well so that you have more information on that. But I really prefer the print and cut just because you get a more accurate, clean trace because there's more of a contrast between the background and the images. So the trace is more precise. Also, once you have done the trace, you can save this file, you can print it out with registration marks and use this over and over and over again to cut, print and cut the ephemera that you want. Whereas the PixScan is kind of like a one-shot deal. You know, you scan it, you trace it once, you use it, and then you pretty much can't use that file again. Not so with the print and cut. I'm getting confused. Yeah, with the print and cut, you can use that one over and over again. You can also move the ephemera to different pages. So say you don't want to cut, you know, the tags, a bunch of tags every single time. You can just take the ephemera pieces that you want from various ephemera pages and put all of them on a single file, save it as a different file, and then you can print and cut those over and over and over again. So like if you have a lot of labels, or you have a lot of buttons or whatever, you know, you can take your favorite images and you can create a separate file for those. So I vastly prefer the print and cut. However, there are instances in which the PixScan is really useful, especially if you haven't pre-planned and you've already cut out your ephemera and you just, you know, need more precise cut than you can do with your scissors or trimmer. But whenever possible, I would recommend using the print and cut feature over the PixScan because they are about the same time commitment, and I'd much rather have a file that I can use over and over again than one that I have to toss after a single use. So I hope you enjoyed this video and that you found it helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. I am trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of 2023, which is in just a couple more months now, but I only need about 250 more subscribers. So with your help, I'll get there. Yay! I'm hoping, keeping my fingers crossed. And if I do reach that by the end of 2023, I will be having a giveaway, a drawing for a giveaway. So I hope that you stick around for that. Anyhow, thank you so much for joining me today. Again, this is Denise of Paper Crafty, and craft on.